beautiful geekies, and welcome to my Legend of Tarzan Q&A. This has nothing to do with the Legend of Tarzan movie itself. I just like to dedicate every single Q&A I make to a certain movie coming out in a certain month. So if I do get a question that will probably spoil anything about the Legend of Tarzan, do not worry, I will avoid spoilers. Or if I do have to mention a certain spoiler, I'll put this hand up like this and tell you to mute the video in that section. So let's get right into it, and the first batch of questions come from Tanashi's Movie Corner. And his first question is, what is your opinion on the Disney animated Tarzan movie? My opinion is that I really do love that movie. It's in my top 5 Disney movies of all time. I love Tarzan as a character, I love the stories by Edgar Rice Burroughs, I love the myth and, no pun intended, the legend of Tarzan. And the movie just works in every way for me. The villain, the main hero, the romantic interest, the family aspect to that movie, the directing of that movie, the music, everything works to me. The tone of that movie is absolutely perfect. Every tone it addresses it perfectly. So Tarzan is definitely in my top 5 Disney movies of all time. Second question from Tanashi's Movie Corner. What are your thoughts on the Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition trailer? I like the trailer fine enough. I think the trailer, for what it is intending to do, in an objective way, it does accomplish what it sets out to do, and that is to show you what you missed and what wasn't in the theatrical cut of Batman v Superman. And it seems that those scenes, every scene that seems to be missing from that movie, will be placing pieces in that whole mess of a puzzle. What superhero movie that hasn't been done yet would you like to see be done? Honestly, there are so many superheroes that deserve their own movie, and I'm just going to be poking the bear at this moment and say Moon Knight deserves a movie of his own. Doctor Strange deserves a movie of his own, but he's getting one already. Hawkeye deserves a movie of his own, maybe with Black Widow. I think there are a lot of superheroes that deserve their own movie. Aquaman too, and he's already getting his own movie. A superhero that hasn't his own show, and there isn't a movie already in the works. I can't remember one at the time, but Moon Knight is definitely that top one that deserves a movie, definitely. Or maybe a Netflix show. With all the live action Disney movies coming out, what would you like to see a live action version of? I would really love to see a Sword in the Stone live action, but to me, the pinnacle of that, and this to me is the most underrated movie of all time, is Treasure Planet. I would flip out if I ever saw a poster for Treasure Planet. I love that freaking movie so bad. The movie is so great, and it flopped at the box office, and honestly the idea they had for a sequel is not that great, but the movie just speaks to me. It spoke to me when I first saw it. It has spoken to me in all these years when I went back to watch it again. What are some of your favorite theme songs? TV, movies, games. I love the Batman animated series theme song. I love Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes theme song. I love all the theme songs from the Marvel animated shows of the 90s. X-Men, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Hulk, even Fantastic Four. Funny enough, my favorite show of all time does not have a theme song. Of course, for movies you have to pick Star Wars, Indiana Jones. Anything John Williams basically does, it's going to be there on the top soundtracks or top theme songs. And even though I just said that, Hans Zimmer is my favorite composer of all time, and his theme for The Dark Knight and then for the Joker as a character are just perfect. From games, I honestly can't remember anything besides God of War. That soundtrack is freaking badass. From Gonçalo Rodrigues, with DC Rebirth, which titles do you think would be best ones to read? I like Constantine from Vertigo, I like Batman New 52, Green Lantern, and Aquaman. Kidding about Aquaman. Well, you shouldn't be. Especially starting with the New 52, you should totally check out Aquaman. On Rebirth, I wouldn't tell you to check Aquaman because it doesn't seem he's going to have a solo series, but I would tell you to continue on with Batman. I would tell you to go with Action Comics if you want to read something about Superman. I would tell you to go with any titles relating to Batman, Nightwing, Red Hood. I would tell you to go with the main Justice League title. Basically, if you like a character, try the main series that the lore enters in. Like Green Lantern, try the Hal Jordan Green Lantern comic book that is coming out. And if you like that enough, try out the other Green Lantern titles. Any character that you like, I would say try it out. And now with Rebirth, that is the perfect timing. I gotta tell you, Batman is being awesome still, so go with Batman. And All-Star Batman that is coming out in the future does also look great. I saw the Injustice 2 trailer and I don't know what to think of it. Of course we all like to see our superheroes fighting, but the armors, it looks like the Power Rangers. Don't get me wrong, I love the Power Rangers, just like I do, man. I just don't think they should mix them with Superman. That's Iron Man's thing. What do you think about it? I can completely see where you're coming from. Honestly, I really like the armors, and I think it's cool having them on Batman, having them on the Flash, having them on Lex Luthor. But if you give the armors that were already in the first video game to every single character, it kinda stops being special, and there are certain characters that don't mix well with having an armor. I mean, that makes sense for the kind of fight they are having, at least in the trailer, but Superman doesn't need an armor. He's freaking Superman. If Doomsday is in the game again, he won't need an armor. He's freaking Doomsday. Deathstroke, if he's in the game again, he won't need an armor. I mean, he's already got an armor. It's really weird, but I also didn't like that every single character had an armor. Green Lantern, I don't think he needs an armor. He can create an armor. I completely agree with you, Gonzalo. I think having armors for everyone does sound weird and look weird, but I do like that the armors are different for everybody in every single way. You can't confuse the Flash armor with the Batman armor or with the Superman armor. There are just characters that shouldn't or needn't wear an armor. From Pedro Fernandes, what did you think of the Outcast pilot episode? I really enjoyed it. I can't say I love this show, I can't say I'm into this show. It's just not the type of thing that I see the synopsis and go immediately, I gotta watch that. But I really liked it. There are some directorial choices that bother me in terms of tone, and I don't think Patrick Fugit is the greatest actor to pull off a show of his own. I'm definitely intrigued. I have all the episodes until now recorded so I can watch it when I have time, but I really enjoyed the pilot episode. It is definitely something that has me intrigued, and I will watch at least until episode 3 unless I really don't like it. From Tania Martins, is there a horror movie that makes you uneasy for you to fall asleep? Which one and why? Sorry, but not really. I can say I never got frightened or scared after watching a horror movie, but not to the level that I couldn't fall asleep. I usually can't fall asleep anyway, so it's not because of a horror movie. But I remember at the time one movie that really scared me was Mirrors. If you're afraid of horror movies easily, don't watch that movie. Or actually watch it because it will be really funny to know what you thought about it. Next, from A Vida de uma Fruta, what do you think about the horde scene in the trailer where they smash the town? Mufasa much? He's talking about The Legend of Tarzan. And if you saw my review, both the spoilers free and the spoilers review, to which there are links for both of those in the description below, I had the same problems in the trailer that I did in the movie. It doesn't really remind me of Mufasa, at least in the movie. In the trailers it definitely did, but in the movie it didn't really remind me of that just because it went by too fast. But I can definitely see where you're coming from, and even the scenario where the wildebeests come from into the town is definitely Mufasa reminiscent. Next, from Rui Martins, what did you think about the extended Batman v Superman version of the movie? I really liked it. In a scale of 0 to 10, I would give this version 8.5 or a 9. 2 points more than the cinematic version. That's great to hear. I'm really happy. I'm hearing a lot of good buzz about the Batman v Superman extended cut. And if I have such a bigger appreciation for that version as well, I will definitely do it a review for you guys. Just know that that movie won't be legitimate even if I really do love it for the top 10 best movies of the year, because I didn't love the cinematic version, and because of that, I don't think it's fair to judge it on the extended cut. But as a movie on its own, I'll definitely give it a review if I really like it that much more than the cinematic version. Rui Martins, I did not yet see it, because I like to have a physical copy of movies. If you saw my Blu-ray collection, you know I love movies, I love collecting them, and I like to see movies physically. If I have the Batman v Superman cut, since it's out on Blu-ray, I do want to see it when I have it physically, and that's why I didn't download the digital version, because I just want to see it in my TV, full HD. I really want to appreciate it in the best picture possible. Thank you so much for the question, and I will definitely address that even if I don't think the movie is any better than the cinematic version. Thank you so much for your question. I will definitely get back to you whenever I get a look at the extended cut. Last but not least, from Bupias, how old were you when you first watched Tarzan? The movie came out in 1999 or maybe in 2000 here in Portugal, so I would have been either 6 or 7 depending on the time it came out during the year 2000, if it came out in that time. But what I do remember is when I got the video cassette for that movie. It was still on VHS at the time. And I was across the street from my house at my neighbor's house where my father was hanging out with him because the girls were friends with my sister and my father was friends with their father. And so I think I went to get him for lunch or something, and I knocked on the door, and then my father appears behind me. He had come out from the garage, and then he hands me the Tarzan VHS. And I just flipped out. I forgot what I was doing there. I got home, I put the cassette on the VHS reader, and I watched the movie like 1,000 times in a single day. But I did not flip out just because of the movie, even though I love it so much. I flipped out because my father never gave me anything. Every time I wanted something, I had to beg my father. Even if it was just like an action figure or a movie for like 10 bucks, even if it wasn't a cheap price, I always had to beg my father to give me something. So whenever he gave me something, and that VHS, that movie that I loved so much, he gave me that without me not telling him anything, I flipped out. I hugged him and I ran home, and that's like maybe the greatest VHS story I will ever tell you guys. So don't expect anything better. Next, what is your favorite character in a new movie besides Tarzan? And that is George Washington Williams, played by Samuel L. Jackson. The guy was a great friend for Tarzan, he was a great teacher in certain ways, and he was a great character all around with a humor, with a knowledge he had. Besides Tarzan and Jane, he was the only other fleshed out character in the movie. What was your favorite part about Legend of Tarzan? And it was the characters of Tarzan and Jane fighting for each other and fighting for themselves separately, doing their own missions, having a clear goal throughout that movie, getting back together and saving the jungle and the people of the jungle and the animals of the jungle. I really enjoyed the writing on those characters and their arcs as well. And of course the performances from Alexander Skarsgård and Margot Robbie. What's a better OTP than Tarzan and Jane or Hercules and Meg? You really had to come at me with that one, didn't you? Han Solo and Leia, Thor and Jane Foster, Oliver Queen and Felicity Smoke, Simba and Nala. There are too many great relationships in the Marvel Universe, I couldn't remember them at the moment. Hulk and Betty, of course, and that's it, I'm out. What was the best performance in the new movie? Margot Robbie and Samuel L. Jackson tied. Alexander Skarsgård, not just because I didn't immediately buy him as Tarzan. I understand why I didn't buy him as Tarzan, but still, Margot Robbie and Samuel L. Jackson tied. Would you like to see another Tarzan remake? I would, but that would have to be the Disney live-action version of Tarzan. I want to see a sequel to this movie because I think this movie has room to improve so much, because the mistakes that were in this movie are easily fixed. You need to get David Yates back, get a better writer, get the actors back, have a good story to tell, because there are many Tarzan stories that are good to tell in the movie. If you watch the movie, you see where they end up in the movie. I'm not going to spoil it, but you know there's a great story to follow this movie. So I think there's always room to have another, even better Tarzan movie, a Tarzan sequel from Warner Bros. And I really hope to see that in the future. And we are now done with the questions for my hashtag Legend of Tarzan Q&A. Thank you all so much, guys, for contributing with your questions for this Q&A. This was the July Q&A, and unfortunately the first Q&A ever. I'm not able to give you something. I don't have anything to give a giveaway for, but when the next Q&A comes, I will definitely have one, I promise you. And guys, next month is August, and you definitely gotta know what the next Q&A is going to be. Hashtag Squad Q&A, dedicated to Suicide Squad. As always, for those of you who haven't followed me for that long, these Q&As can be about anything. You guys can ask me questions about anything you want. Personal questions, movie questions, geeky questions, all around stuff. Just ask me your questions and start hashtagging it in the comments below. Squad Q&A. There's the hashtag in the description for you to check out. And of course there's links to my Tarzan spoilers free review and my spoilers review if you have already watched the movie or don't care about spoilers. There's also links to my Facebook and my Instagram, and you guys can stalk me on the internet. And I'm going to start leaving there as well my pop price guide link, so you guys can get updated whenever I get new pops. I'll leave the link there. I will definitely give you my pop collection soon, because I have a new camera. I'll give you every single one of my collections in a video after Star Wars Celebration, because I have to get ready, because I'm flying out on Wednesday. And surprisingly, I got a screening for Miles Ahead this week, so the review is coming before I head to Star Wars Celebration. And we're still 4 away from 200 subs, so if we do get to the 200 mark before I head to Celebration, I will promise you I will have many videos dedicated to that celebration after I return from London. But I have many great suggestions. Don't forget to leave your own if you haven't yet, and we can have a big celebration for hitting the 200 subscriber mark. And of course, guys, as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, click the button below the video box and join our beautiful geeky community, and we can be geeky, united, and share this video with your friends, family, and enemies. Share with them all and tell them to come here and join us. Of course, like this video as always, and put your eyes right on the side of the screen because there will be a link to a very special video right here. Thank you so much for your questions and for watching my Legend of Tarzan Q&A. I love your questions every time I get them, guys. Don't forget, start leaving for the squad Q&A coming on August 6th. After I give you my spoilers-free Suicide Squad review, because it's premiering over here on August 4th, and I will definitely give you a spoilers-free and spoilers review. And of course, don't forget, on Tuesday or Wednesday before I head to Star Wars Celebration in London, I'll have my Miles Ahead movie review. Really excited for that one, and I hope to see you guys on all those videos and reviews and vlogs from Star Wars Celebration coming to the Geekness Overlord channel. Cheers!